Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last several years, I've been focusing my attention on les filles du roi and les filles mariées, these inspirational, amazing women who really have helped define North America. And today we're going to be looking at a fille du roi and getting to know her story a little bit better. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three kind of keep you in the loop. We have subscribe, which is very, very important. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so please consider subscribing. It's completely free. And like, if you like this video, you just click on that like button, and that helps kind of spread the news, if you will. And notify, of course, is just a convenient way of getting told when I post new video. New content is about two times a week. Today we're featuring Les Filles du Roi, episode 293, Catherine Bourgeois. She comes to us from a viewer request, and when I looked at my files, you know who else this is a great-grandmother of? Madonna. So this was kind of interesting. I had done previously, a few years ago, I did Madonna's genealogy with the Filles du Roi, and I listed them all. So Catherine Bourgeois is also Madonna's great-grandmother. So let's get to know Catherine a little bit better. Catherine was born in 1633 in Rouen. Her parents were Thomas Bourgeois and Marie Petit. Her father Thomas was a notary and a lawyer for the Parliament of Rouen. Rouen is a city on the River Seine in northern France. It's the capital of the region of Normandy. Inside of Normandy, Rouen is also part of the Département of Seine-Maritime that you can see circled here. Rouen has an amazing historical story, and at one time it was the largest city in medieval Europe. It played a prominent role in both English and French histories from the 11th to the 15th century. Joan of Arc was tried and burned alive here in 1431 in this spot. Rouen is a city of cultural and educational significance, and it was from here that the Statue of Liberty sailed in June of 1885. So let's see where Catherine's journey takes her. After her father's death, she would come to New France at age 34. That is significantly older than most filles du roi, with a dowry worth about £300. She would arrive on September 25, 1667, aboard the Saint-Louis de Dieu. Groom that she selected and who selected her, his name was René Binet, and he was born in 1636 in a place called Saint-Jean-de-Sauve in France. His parents were Maître Binet and Marie Prout. Saint-Jean-de-Sauve is found in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region of France, and it is part of the Département of Vienne. You can see how northern it is as well. There are about 1,300 people that live here now. The name itself tells us a lot. Saint-Jean refers to Saint John the Baptist, reflecting the deep Christian roots, while Sauve likely comes from the Latin silva, meaning forest, hinting that the area's once wooded landscape was really predominantly part of its essence. Historically, this region has seen it all. During Roman times, the area was likely part of that network, as nearby remnants of roads and settlements suggest. Moving into the Middle Ages, it became part of the feudal lands in Poitou, a region often caught between French and English rule during the 100 Years' War. And the community was also shaped by the wars of religion in the 16th century, when tensions between Catholics and Protestants impacted daily life. For most of its history, though, Saint-Jean-de-Sauve has been a quiet rural community centered on farming and the local church. And this is definitely, the Église Saint-Jean-Baptiste has stood the test of time. And it more than likely, as far as I can tell, dates back to the 12th century. So it's been there for a long, long time. These are deep, deep roots. René would enlist to come to New France in 1665, and he would end up as a servant doing his contrat, his engagement. You can see him in the 1666 census. He is a domestic engagé, a house servant, and he did his time, and he granted land, getting ready to start a new life with a woman who would show up for him. So they were married on October 19th, 1667 at Quebec City. Let's see where their life takes them. I love talking about Charlesbourg, where they eventually would settle, because it is such a part of the unique character of Quebec. And the origins of it began in 1626 with the 100 associates who, gave the land to the Jesuits, who had it for about 40 years. Didn't do much with it, so of course our wonderful Jean Talon, who is the new intendant of justice, in 1665 said, hey, we got to build something here. This is not just for y'all to graze the land. I need people. And so he created this sort of pattern. And if you would look at it, you have Bourgeois, Charlesbourg, and Petit-Sauvigny, and they are laid out in spokes, kind of like spokes of a wheel. And in the middle, there's a small square. That square represents a church that would be there. And then all the inhabitants would have to see it all the time. Their land was laid out literally facing the church. Very, very different pattern. I think there is a place in Alberta, if memory serves right, that is laid out in such a way. There is rarely any other place in Canada or North America that is laid out like this. And in the 1960s, they had an aerial view, and you can clearly see that the way it was designed has remained over the 300 years or so. The church that was eventually designed would be the Church of Saint Charles de Bourrimont, and this is the church that is now there. We can see a depiction of it in 1696, and you can see where Charlesbourg is in relation. It looks like it's really far from Quebec City, but it's not. And this is where they chose to build their family. Go on to have 6 children. Anne would marry Jean Bourron and have 2 children, both of whom made it to adulthood. Louise would die at birth. Nicolas would marry Geneviève Brisson and have 11 children, 9 of whom made it to adulthood, and 7 who left descendants. We have François, who married Marie-Françoise Vachon and would have 3 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. We have Marie, that we have no information on, and René, who would pass away sometime after 1705, no information on descendants. In the 1681 census, we find René and Catherine, and with their children, Anne, Nicolas, François, Marie, René, 1 gun, 10 bêtes à cornes, which are 10 horned animal, and look at the arpents valeurs, 40 arpents valeurs, about 35 acres of land. Later years, they would move to Beauport, which is, kind of down the road, if you will. And I don't know why they moved there, but certainly that would be perhaps something where their children were there. And Beauport was a seigneurie that was established in 1634 by Robert Giffard, and was truly something that developed over time, was very, very populous, particularly around 1698. We have a lot of movement to that, and the flour mill and the agriculture had begun to really be established. So it is possible that this is why they would have moved to Beauport. René would die at 63 years of age in 1699 and was buried at Beauport. He and Catherine were married 31 years. Catherine herself would pass away 3 years later in 1702 at the age of 69. She would leave us with 47 descendants as of 1729. Thank you, Catherine, for coming to New France and for building a life and for being one of the pioneers at Charlesbourg and then eventually at Beauport. And so you truly are part of the tapestry that is New France. You left us with a smaller legacy, only 47, but they remain strong. And I would love to hear from some of the descendants of this lovely lady. She truly was somebody who came, she built a life, and she was able to share it with one man and build something solid. So we are grateful that she came, and we bless her memory. Thank you so much, Catherine Bourgeois. And I want to say thank you to my patrons and supporters. You truly are the wind beneath my wings. I really appreciate each and every one of you for sticking by me and making certain that I am always on the right course. So really, really appreciate each and every one of you. And with that being said, I will see you on the next episode of Les Filles du Roi. Until then, au revoir.